Hello guys, welcome to the channel. So this week the Nurburgring 24 hours Gesamtstrecke in the Aston Martin GT4. So normally I pause the video quite a bit. I'm not going to do that this time around just because the video will go on endlessly otherwise. So I was going to try to keep up and tell you what I'm doing, what I'm aiming for, and I hope I can keep up with the corners as well. So starting on the left hand side, I'm looking for the part on the left where the grass just gets broken up a little bit right there. And start braking in, shifting back to second gear. Don't shift back too soon, otherwise the car will spin out. Turn in quite a bit and get as close as possible to the tire wall on the left. So build up the throttle, open up the steering wheel, and watch out that you don't overdo it on the steering because the car will wash out. Look for the cones on the right and you start braking in right at the last cone. Keep the car in fourth gear, go all the way to the left, and then turn into the right a little bit later than you expect. Stay in third gear and build up the throttle halfway through the corner and shift up to fourth and just go full throttle from there. So looking for that hairpin coming up, braking right where the grass stops on the left. Take a double apex in this one, so brake in a straight line, and once you turn in quite severely, you stop building up the throttle again and let the car wash out to the astroturf on the left. Go all the way to the right and just do a little bit of a lift. Keep the car on the left curb and watch out for the gravel on the right. If you hit that, you're gonna get a slowdown as well. Start braking a little bit in front of the in front of the 100 meter sign. Shift back to third gear, keep the car all the way to the left, and turn in a little bit later than you might think on this corner as well. Halfway through the corner, start building up the throttle in third gear and you go full throttle for the straight. Don't cut this corner because it will slow you down. You can hit the curb a little bit, but don't overdo it. Start looking for the 50 meter mark on this second chicane and shift back to fourth gear and cut the course a little bit on the left and do the same thing on the right. Don't overdo it on this part because again they're both off tracks on the inside and outside. Shift back to fourth gear, keep the car close to the curb and shift back a little bit later than normally you would on third gear. Keep the car in third and get close to the curbstone on the left and build up the throttle. Shifting back to second will just slow you down and be sure that the car is unsettled, so watch out for that. Go through this with a little bit of a small lift and start looking for the gravity on the ground, and once the big gravity is gone, you start braking in, shift back to third gear, keep the car on the right, build up the throttle quite quickly again, stay to the left, get over the cobbled section on the right, go to the left as well, so don't overdo it on the right hand side. Do the same thing right here, go over the cobblestones in third gear, get the car close to the left hand curb because there's camber right there, and once you hit that camber with the left front, you can go full throttle. So again, it's all about hitting the right front and left front in the cambers on this track. Just lift off a little bit and get the car as far possible to the right as you can. You can hit that curb if you want to. It will unsettle the car, so it takes a little bit of practice. It is faster, but if you want to be safe, don't hit the curb on the right hand side. Go full throttle downhill and start looking for the white sign on the right, which is right there, and you start braking in a little bit before it. Keep the car in sixth gear, keep close to the curb and start braking a little bit before the end of the curbstone on the left. Brake in a straight line, get the car to the right, and once you're in the middle of the corner, build up the throttle to third gear. Let the car roll out on the curb to the left, so you don't spin up the rears. Then you go full throttle downhill and move towards one of the toughest corners on track. Start braking a little bit before the white sign on the right, cut the course on the left, shift back to fourth gear and start braking in a straight line, and once you got the speed out, shift back to third and stay in third. Don't hit the curves on the left and right. Let the car roll out. There's not enough track on the left hand side except for the gravel, the grass on the left. Go full throttle and lift off a little bit towards this corner. You see me playing with the throttle a little bit and braking in. Brake in a straight line, shift back to third gear, keep the car close to the curb, turn in to the right, and then you start looking for the second sign on the left, and the second sign is your brake marker. Turn in late on this corner, that's really the key, turn in late. Brake in a straight line and turn in late. You can do this full throttle, you will hit the curb on the right side and it will bounce a bit like the Aston does. Brake this corner quite severely and keep it close. So brake down a little harder than you expect so you can take the corner faster. Then you brake in a straight line, keep the car on the right, and you take a really late apex on this so you avoid the curb on the right hand side. I can build up the throttle almost immediately. Heading towards the bridge, you start braking a little bit in front of the end of the curb, shift back to third gear, watch out that you don't go on the curb on the right hand side, brake in a straight line on this corner and get as close as possible to the curbstone where the camber is again. So you got two pretty big straights right there, and those corners are really important for getting a good lap time. So practice this one, just reset it a couple times and practice it. Looking for the black marker on the right side, then you brake in a straight line, turn in quite late and keep the car as close as possible to the curb again, and don't hit the curb on the left because it will unsettle the car quite a bit. This is a straight which is going uphill, so that practicing that corner is of a big importance on this lap. If you want to get a good lap time, nail this sector. You can gain like a full second right here if you nail that corner. So once I do here, I start shifting up, and once I hit 228 kilometers an hour, I shift up to 6. The car does feel slower, but it isn't. I tried it a couple of times, it saves you like 400s. Get the car on the cobblestones on the right, just brake in and lift off a little bit, and you can take this corner almost full throttle. Keep turning in the car quite early there, that's the key. Brake in on the left once you hit that curb or see that curb. Keep the car on entry, keep it close to the curbstone and start aiming for the carousel, and you see this fence right there. I'm just gonna pause this one time. So this fence, you're aiming for this fence. Once you're aiming for this fence in the middle of your car, then you're gonna hit the carousel really good. Hit the carousel, keep it in third gear, build up the throttle, and once you're like 3/4 through the carousel, you can build up the throttle even more. Watch out that you don't get bumped out of the carousel, because obviously you will lose speed and cost time. This is a full throttle corner. Keep in mind that you got like 3 of these corners. This is a pretty hefty braking zone, so don't go too fast. Go to the 4th gear, go full throttle on this part. Keep the car on the left, get as close as possible to the right. Watch out that you don't hit the curb on the left hand side too hard. Keep the car on the left hand side again and play with the throttle a little bit and get the car on the camber. Go to the left, watch out that you don't go too far on the right, and cut the cords for the cobblestones on the left. You can use the grass on the left as well, because there is not an off track right there. Watch out that you don't overdo it on the left hand side here, and better to take this corner slowly so you get a better exit on this corner and you're heading towards the YouTube corner. Watch out for the off track on the left hand side on the grass. Brake in, and keep in mind that this is halfway through you start building up the throttle. This corner is the one of the hardest you can get. Start braking in earlier than you expect. Shift back to third gear. Keep the car on the cobble section on the right. Build up the throttle again, and then you go downhill. This is full throttle, and then you're looking for the jump. And once you hit that jump and you land the car, you start braking in and start shifting back to 4th gear. Get the car to the camber on the right, and then you build up the throttle. Move into the left. Watch out that you don't hit the curb too hard, because it will send you out, especially in the Aston. And this section is completely flat out. Keep that in mind. Again, keep the car as straight as possible so you take as much speed as you can. On the right hand side there's a fence, and once you hit that fence you see me braking in, shifting back to 4th gear, and keep it in the 4th gear as well. Don't shift back to 3rd because the car will spin out. Watch out that you don't hit the curb on the right, and throw the car on the 2nd carousel as low as you possibly can. I might have overdone it even there, but the lower is better. This corner is faster than you might think. Shift back to 4th gear, build up the throttle, and then turn in and be as fast as you can and as close as you can to the right hand side, because of the endless long straight which is coming up. So there's several ways to approach this, but the best way to do is to keep the car all the way to the left on the white line. On this lap I'm not doing so. After a couple of runs on testing, I figured out that the left hand side was less bumpy than the middle and the right, and in the end it will save me like 5 hundredths of a lap. And because the lap has 117 corners, every hundredth you can get, in the end it's going to be half a second. So stay on the left and you're going to be safe. Looking for the last corner, go in full throttle. You see a change in the tarmac right there, which is your brake marker. Start braking on that, get back to 3rd gear, don't hit the curb on the right too hard, and build up the throttle really quickly. There's camber on the left, so you won't be washed out, so you can be completely on the throttle again. So that was the lap. It was an 8:45.562. I hope you guys could follow up. It was hard to do. I struggled a bit, and the most important thing you gotta keep in mind is just about this track: practice, 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 and nothing but practice. It's all you can do. It's just keep on practicing. Normally I do the hot lap completely after that, after the tutorial, but I'm not going to do that because since I already did that, besides from the one pass in the carousel. I hope you guys like this one. Good for luck for your safety rating, because if you nail it, it's going to be skyrocketing. It's going to be amazing. Subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. If you want more videos of this stuff, just let me know. Somebody asked me to do a Falcon review, a Falcon tutorial. I'm going to do that as well this week around. So yeah, good luck this week on the ring. Cheers, guys.